Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us all today. This afternoon I am joined virtually by Councilmember Chris Ward, who also serves as chair of the Regional Task Force on the Homelessness, as well as Tamara Kohler, who is CEO of the Regional Task Force of the Homeless. I'm going to be here to discuss the results of the 2020 point-in-time count. That's the annual count of homeless individuals throughout not only the city of San Diego, but throughout the county as well. So the topics I am going to cover today will be that point-in-time count, first and foremost. Second, I will talk about reinforcing our call to landlords to help step up with the unique program that we're working on. Third, an update on public safety and the USS Kidd. And lastly, of course, I will highlight those San Diegans that continue to step up and are doing great things to help out. Topic one, the results of our yearly homeless count. The Regional Task Force for the Homeless just released the yearly homeless count earlier today. And as I mentioned, it is a count that happens every year throughout the entire county of San Diego, every city, every part of the county. And this count provides a snapshot in time, the number of individuals in shelters, or the number of individuals in streets, unsheltered, canyons, riverbeds. I will tell you this count takes a tremendous amount of effort. It's really an incredible effort. More than 1,700 volunteers were out around the entire county putting on this count. A few numbers. The 2020 point-in-time count found that there were 4,887 individuals experiencing homelessness in San Diego. And I am pleased to announce that this year's count shows a significant reduction in the number of people living outdoors. We saw a 12% decrease on people living in the streets, and they are known as, technically, as unsheltered individuals. That's how the count puts that into that category. But I think it's important to know we see that it's the most visible segment of the homeless population. To see that number decrease is encouraging news. I think it's further proof that the city of San Diego is continuing to lead with real solutions on this statewide crisis. So again, a 12% reduction in unsheltered. For sheltered population, we saw a 5% increase. And that's actually good news. It's an encouraging figure because it means those are the folks that you don't see on the street. People in our shelters, our bridge shelters, or our transitional housing. It indicates that we are getting more people connected to services to help end the cycle of homelessness. In total, a 4% overall decrease in the city of San Diego. Our city has a bias towards action when it comes to addressing homelessness. We no longer are waiting for consensus. We've taken action to stand up much-needed lifelines for homelessness individuals, including our 4 bridge shelters with nearly 1,000 beds, expanded safe parking lots for those that are living out of cars or RVs. We've tripled capacity for folks to safely store their belongings. We've opened the city's first housing navigation center. We've created a neighborhood policing division with outreach teams to help connect people with the resources. We have invested in programs that really work, including Downtown Partnerships Family Reunification, Wheels of Change work program, our landlord incentive programs, and partnering with the county to increase mental and substance abuse programs. You can see the difference, the slides that are there. There are some photos from 2017. On the one side, the before, obviously, and what it looked like just a few months ago. Great progress, but not stopping there. COVID, of course, has presented us with a very new challenge. But I can tell you, and part of why we are here today is that San Diego is really rising to the challenge and turning it into an opportunity. This is truly a regional effort. The city, the county of San Diego, the Regional Task Force on the Homeless, and the Housing Commission have all worked quickly to protect homeless individuals during this pandemic. We've opened up the San Diego Convention Center for Operation Shelter to Home. And the center, as you've heard me talk about in other days, can serve up to 1,500 individuals. It provides for physical distancing. It allows for health screenings and testing. And this morning, There were 1,095 individuals there. Our homeless outreach teams have connected with more than 500 folks that were on the streets and brought them into the convention center since it began welcoming our unsheltered persons. Those were people who, in January, were out on the street, but are now in the convention center getting the help in a clean and sanitary place. The silver lining in this is that we all have an entire team of housing specialists that are now at the convention center, including city staff, working to determine the individual client's needs, to gather all of the necessary documents. There's always a lot of that needs to happen. But I think most importantly, connect them to the housing that is right and can be available for them. That is the full court effort, the full court press that is happening right now at the convention center. And as I said, this is an opportunity to continue to do things differently, to continue to reduce that number out on the streets and unsheltered. So positive momentum, yes, but still a ways to go. And that's what we're here to talk about this afternoon. Our bottom line goal is to reduce that point in time count number every single year. So we're making progress. We're going to continue to push. And this progress is made because this has been a concerted effort here in the city with the support of the entire City Council. And today I'm glad to have a strong voice who is part of this briefing on this issue. Councilmember Chris Ward, who, as I mentioned earlier, is the Regional Task Force for the Homeless Chair. Chris, thank you for joining us virtually. Thank you for all of your hard work in this space, and take it away.
Great. Well, thank you, Mayor Faulkner. This year's point-in-time count, more commonly known as the We All Count operation, took place over 3 days, beginning at 4 a.m. on the morning of January 23rd, with nearly 1,800 volunteers participating. We had more people than ever helping us to ensure as wide a reach as possible. Volunteers and outreach specialists across the county, and joined by Governor Newsom, Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins, Assemblymember Gloria, County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher, and others, engaged with individuals struggling with homelessness where they were at. Teams of volunteers walked the streets to survey homeless individuals, counting actual people experiencing homelessness in conditions considered to be unsheltered, whether on park benches, sidewalks, in tents, vehicles, or RVs. We identified hard-to-reach areas with observer and drone technology feedback and sent in trained specialists to engage and include more people in the count. Homeless individuals in shelter were surveyed through continued collaboration with service providers and community partners. New technology used by volunteers delivered the most accurate street-based count our region has ever seen. We learned from previous year's counts potential shortcomings, and with guidance from HUD, corrected our processes for a more improved and reliable count. The annual event results is just one of many tools the RTFH has available to make sense of an issue as complicated and complex as homelessness. In both the immediate and long-term strategies, it gives us information we need to advise actions, set practical policies, direct funding, and inform the overall organizational work of the RTFH. This includes working closely with the city on our community action plan on homelessness, direct outreach efforts, and in the case of COVID-19, understand how to distribute resources and meet the health needs of the unsheltered population where they are. The combination of a mobile app and person-centered engagement in the count has made San Diego a national leader in going beyond the exercise of determining a biannual total, but also diving deeper to understand how this information will help us solve someone's homelessness. And we are mindful of the count's limitations, that it is just a point in time, and that it informs us of just a minimum number of San Diegans experiencing homelessness. And while the count methodology continues to be improved, we again are counting fewer unsheltered individuals for the third year in a row. But we still have a large community challenge to address thousands of struggling people trying to match to housing and remain committed to programs that work. And while we continue to look for new housing solutions to meet that challenge. While the most common factor of complicating homelessness is economic, we are aware of the days that we are living through together right now. And so we work to protect more people from falling into homelessness as we resolve needs for those who want to get out of homelessness. We reduce and seek an end to homelessness through meaningful, direct relationship building and continued engagement, one person at a time. This is exactly what we are doing here through this count and through all of our expanding outreach and supportive programs. Before I turn it back to the mayor, I want to thank the residents as well as city and county employees for joining us so early on that late January morning to once again get this count done. It's just another example of how San Diegans continue to rise to the occasion no matter the crisis. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Very well said. Thank you for all of your help. Thank you for your leadership. Next, speaking of leadership, I'd like to introduce the CEO of the Regional Task Force for the Homeless, Tamara Kohler. And Tamara, thank you for everything that you've continued to do to organize to make us a region-wide leader. Again, this is a region-wide count. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Mayor Faulkner and Council Member and our Board President, Ward. I want to thank the many volunteers and partner agencies and dedicated staff at the Regional Task Force for everyone's tireless efforts on the We All Count work. We increased our effectiveness this year, as we mentioned, with the use of mobile technology from SimTech and efforts led by our outreach teams across the region. I want to recognize the Downtown Partnership that leads these efforts in downtown San Diego. These efforts provided also GIS mapping of which when contacts were happening and allowed for immediate follow-up of areas believed to need additional coverage. We were also able to deduplicate records quickly and have real-time information to act upon to improve our count. And this year's count, we increased our engagement efforts around those in vehicles using peers to help guide and direct our work. And importantly, we dedicated week-long engagement around our youth count. This continued improvement has produced our most accurate street-based count and data to inform our planning, our work efforts, and funding moving forward. Our 2020 regional numbers for the point-in-time count showed a minimum of 3,971 people were unsheltered on the streets, in parks, vehicles, and other outside locations. 8% of these were veterans, 17% are chronically homeless, and another 8% are youth. We also had 3,648 individuals in shelters or in transitional housing on the night of the count, providing a total for the San Diego region of no less than 7,619 people experiencing homelessness on the night of the count. You can find more information on all city-specific totals today on our website, rtfhsd.org, under Updates. Although these numbers show a decrease from the 2019 totals of 8,102 people, the need of our homeless have never been more urgent, and the need for regional shelter and, most importantly, housing never more critical than today during this COVID-19 crisis. There is significant work ahead of us in housing our homeless, and I want to thank and acknowledge our service providers who have worked tirelessly every day to serve those in need and our landlords that provide our housing options. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tamara. I think we got most of that. At least we could hear you, so that was great. Thank you again for your leadership, both you and Councilmember Ward. Encouraging numbers, but I think it's all of us just outlined. A lot of work to do, but we will continue to do that. Second topic today, I want to reinforce our call to landlords. We put this out just a couple of weeks ago. Put out a call for landlords to join us in housing San Diego's homeless, and I'm proud to report that so far 27 property owners have answered that call in the last 2 weeks. That's great. We need more. We need landlords to continue to step up. This is a reminder that there are a number of incentives available for landlords who participate. I know there's a lot of landlords who could use the steady guaranteed rent payments that come with housing homeless individuals. So any landlord who is listening today who has units available, I encourage you to sign up, get more information through this program of the San Diego Housing Commission. To learn more, go to sandiego.gov/coronavirus. We need more landlords. Thank you. Topic 3, an update on public safety and the USS Kidd. Since my previous update, in terms of local public safety, we have had 3 new police officers that have tested positive for the COVID-19 virus, bringing our total of affected SDPD officers to 10. Of these 10, 7 have since returned back to work to their duties. We are wishing a speedy recovery to the rest. I think these updates serve as a powerful reminder that the stay-in-home order is in place to protect all of us. including our public safety professionals who are out there working day and night. So please continue the physical distancing. These rules are important. If you leave your place, cover your face. These rules are in place to help save lives. Thank you again to our men and women, all of our public safety that are out there for us every day and night. Before I move on to the next topic, a update on what we know so far this afternoon regarding the USS Kidd. As I think you know, a ship was out participating in exercises. Numerous sailors begin exhibiting symptoms. And so the USS Kidd is now in San Diego. All sailors will be isolated off ship with twice daily medical screenings. Crew members who tested negative will enter quarantine for a period of observation, and they will receive daily visits from our military doctors to monitor symptoms. As I said, the USS Kidd is a remarkable ship, proud part of the United States Navy, and San Diego is a proud United States Navy city. The ship will undergo deep cleaning and decontamination. That cleaning process has begun today. And the Navy is providing an incredible amount of resources to our sailors while in quarantine, including counselors, team of chaplains, access to mental health professionals, and as I said before, all of the testing. Again, just a special shout out to all of our Navy personnel. Had the chance to speak with Admiral Bolivar several times today. And a special shout out to all of our sailors on USS Kidd. We're proud of you. The city is proud of you. Our country is proud of you. Anything that any of our sailors need is going to be provided for them in the city of San Diego. And our Navy personnel, our Navy medical doctors did a remarkable job all day today, and that will continue. Topic 4, our continued efforts to highlight San Diegans stepping up in a great time of need. For today's story, I'd like to share a brief story of one local bakery that wanted to bring smiles to people's faces. During this pandemic, Karina and Eduardo, with Holy Donut of El Cajon, wanted to step up. That's when Karina's dad mentioned that the couple could supply sweet treats to those who were working on the front lines to keep us safe, and as well as lonely seniors who maybe would like a little cheer as well. So they've got to work, and now they've donated thousands of donuts to seniors and first responders across our region. And last week, they made a special trip to deliver 500 individually packaged donuts to brighten the day of those that are staying at the San Diego Convention Center. One more story, San Diego steps up. What's happening at the Convention Center? And this one is about our city employees who are stepping up to make a difference. Erica, who was one of our Park and Rec employees, has been reassigned to the Convention Center. She noticed a deaf client struggling to communicate his concerns with the staff there. Erica immediately set up a video chat with her sister, Alexandra, who also happens to be a Park and Rec employee. Why? Because Alexandra knows American Sign Language. And thanks to their quick thinking, the man was able to get his questions answered, which provided him clarity, not to mention peace of mind. I want to thank all San Diegans, like Karina, Eduardo, Erica, and Alexandra, who are stepping up in incredible ways to lend people an extra helping hand. Thank you. So if you see a San Diegan stepping up, share it with us with the hashtag San Diego Steps Up. I appreciate everybody's continued effort on working through this together as one city. With that, I'm happy to take any questions from members of the media.
And the first question today comes from Kasha Gorchik with Fox 5.
Hello, Kasha.
Hello, Mayor. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, thank you. Glad you can hear me. So I just wanted to kind of circle back to yesterday with the phase 1 slow reopening of our beaches. During your guys' afternoon press conference, Chief Gartland had mentioned that overall there was pretty good compliance, but the boardwalks had been a big issue. And when we were personally out there in the afternoon and early evening, it was clear the boardwalks were a big problem spot, even though there were repeated kind of PA announcements from lifeguards that the boardwalks were closed. It seemed people were kind of disregarding that. So are there any plans for perhaps stricter enforcement, moving away from that educational approach? And second question, if we don't see improvement, is there a possibility the city could potentially pull back on some of these freedoms at the beach.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kasha. We did see a great compliance yesterday. There were a few hot spots, and you mentioned one yesterday, particularly in the evening hours of the boardwalk. Lifeguards addressed that. Our police department addressed that. I predict you will not see that happen again today and over the next several days. A part of it was the first day, and there was a lot of education, a lot of pent-up excitement. But so the lifeguards are out there. They're doing a remarkable job. I want to thank San Diegans for their compliance. You've seen other places that didn't go so well in terms of beaches. This phase one is important to answer the second part of your question, to make sure that it's done right, to make sure that we adhere to all of those rules so we can go to phase two. So really strong compliance. There were a few areas that needed some extra attention. Those have been addressed. But as I said, overall, the spirit of San Diegans who got it, they didn't know it and they got educated. They say, hey, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. That's what we need. We need to have that 6-foot distancing on the beach. As a reminder, boardwalks and piers are closed during phase one. And as I said, I talked to Chief Gartland and Chief Nislight several times today. The compliance outside this afternoon and this morning has been very, very good. Thank you, San Diego, for doing the right thing. Next
Thank
question.
you.
And the next question comes from Lisa Halverstadt with the Voice of San Diego.
Hello, Lisa.
Hello, Mayor. Per usual, I have multiple questions. So to start, I guess I'm wondering how the point-in-time count has helped to inform the COVID-19 response. I also wanted to ask about the state of testing at the convention center. I just did some quick math while you were talking about the number of individuals there, and it sounds like 565 people staying there still need tests. So my question would be, what is the timeline for that testing? And also, now that there have been 2 positives, will there be retesting at the convention center? And will the city be coordinating with both Father Joe's and Family Health Centers to do all that going forward?
Yes, several questions, but I think I've remembered all of them. And yes, everyone will be tested in the convention center. And again, that's testing which started over a week and a half ago with the Alpha Project, with VBSD, with Father Joe's Villages. Again, thank you to the Lucky Duck Foundation for their support, their dollars, the equipment that's happening, and our county public health nurses that are a big part of that. Yes, as you mentioned, 2 individuals that were asymptomatic did test positive. Those individuals are now in county quarantine motels. That's why we're testing, because anybody with symptoms, of course, is not there. They would have already been removed. And so that testing will continue. It's not only all of the folks that are there in terms of the clients, but all the staff that is helping out as well. So everyone will continue to be tested. That testing is mandatory, and so we will continue to cycle through all of that. And it's incredibly important because our goal, our very strict goal, is to have that be a safe, healthy environment. And I think to answer the first part of your question, that's why our outreach teams have been really successful, particularly over the last 2 weeks, of folks that in the past have been very resistant to coming into a shelter opportunity are doing that now because of the COVID crisis. And so as those numbers continue to increase at the convention center, that's a good thing because we want people off the street. We want to connect them with services. We want to connect them with housing. We want them to get stable. All of those services are there. And so part of the point in time count, and we have seen the continued progress over the last 2 years, that's the exact types of folks that we need to say there's more progress for you. And so the last part, I would just answer your question, why this is so important is we need extra capacity. That's why the call to landlords, that's why the work that the Housing Commission is doing in terms of looking at hotels that can be brought into the stock. It's one goal. How do we get people into a healthy environment? How do we get them matched to services? How do we get them matched into that apartment of their own that allows them to get back on their feet with all the dignity and everything else that's associated with that? So we have a lot of great people that are down at the convention center working every single day. This is the most unique thing in this space that we have ever done as a city and as a county for all of the right reasons. And the positive results that we are seeing thus far gives me a lot of hope that we're going to continue this momentum, as I said, with one goal: decrease the numbers of folks out on the street. Let's get them matched up.
But I would ask though, is there a timeline to get that testing done, and could there be retesting, especially of the individuals that were staying around the 2 positive cases that were asymptomatic?
The answer is yes on retesting. That is one of the things we will continue to be working with. And there are multiple tests, as you know, that are going on a day there. And so we will continue to report out as folks are getting tested every single day. And that continues. I'll probably have an update tomorrow on the actual numbers. And thus far, it's been going very, very well. People understand the importance of testing. As I said before, it's mandatory. That concludes our questions. Thank you again to Councilmember Chris Ward. Thank you to Tamara Kohler. Thank you for everybody, RTFH, the Housing Commission. The numbers that we, as I said, announced today is a positive sign. A lot of work to do, but I'm proud of the region-wide effort and the seriousness that San Diego continues to take this and doing things differently when it comes to homelessness and how we respond to COVID-19. Thank you. I'll look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow.